joining us again. I'm here again with Rob, and today we're going to talk about heaven and hell. Those two words that conjure up either a little bit of hope or a lot of fear, even for people who don't think they believe in an afterlife. But are the people who are wicked in this world, are they accountable? And does it really count if we are good and we try to help each other? What is the truth? So, Rob, this is a big one. Obviously, a lot of people get concerned as they get through their life that maybe they haven't done enough to go to this place.
Yes.
What is the truth of what we know?
It's not as simple as heaven and hell, not that simple at all. So this is from what I have experienced from giving clairvoyance to people and when people come through. And the reality is what it is. We're all got free will. We all live our lives and we all choose what we want to do.
Right.
So to put it in perspective, there are many places on the other side. So when you die, when you pass over, you go to a place that is right for you. When I say it's right for you, it's because of how you lived your life.
Okay.
So, for example, if you've been a good person, we're not talking about religion. We're not talking about going to church. If you have been a good person, and everybody will understand what a good person is, you're caring for people around you, caring for your children, you are a nice person. We all know good people. Well, from my point of view, when I'm giving people clairvoyance and they come for a reading, it is obvious that people who've led a good life here can come through much, much easier. Okay. They really can come through easier because they've read it. It's always the good people that can come straight through. And in a different situation, in a circle situation, people who are good people, people who have been on the other side and recovered for a long time, again, you can tell that they're good people when they draw close. But in the clairvoyant situation, it is so obvious how you live your life is where you go. And there are so many places over there, it's not true. The other thing to remember, and many people who live their lives here may have done things which are bad and they may have recovered from them. You know, right. This has taken place.
While they're still here.
Yeah, while they're still here. Because you often hear stories of people, I don't know, drug addicts, if you like, who used to steal to pay for the drugs, everything else. And then they reach 30, 40 years old, recovered from it, and then spend their life helping youngsters who have got drug problems. And of course, they are the perfect person to help them because they've been through it.
Yeah.
So that is making yourself, while you're here, a better person. Going back to when you give a reading, it's very common, but I can remember quite a few readings where you start the reading off. This was a reading over Zoom, one that I did over Zoom. And then someone came through that easily came through. So it was very straightforward. I could sense them sitting next to me, passing on the information to the person, and that was fine. And then what can take place quite regularly, and what took place at that one, is someone else comes through and they have great difficulty in coming through. So they're in the distance often. You can sense them in the distance. And with this lady, I passed on some information and she went silent because this person who came back described himself as a monster. He actually described himself as a monster.
Okay.
Now, for that to take place, basically, he wasn't very nice on the earth plane whatsoever. So she mentioned to me later on what took place. I didn't need to know then. He's passed on the other side. And the point is, who you are is who you are. So when you pass over, you can't hide. You can't pretend to be a nice person because they have spiritual sight on the other side, and you're not judged. God doesn't come along and judge you. This takes place, but who you are is who you are. He would have to looked in the mirror, for want of a better way of putting it, to realize he was a monster. So he has progressed, if you like, because he realized what he did was wrong.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean? Yeah. If he still thought he was wonderful, he wouldn't have progressed or anything else, but he wasn't a very nice person. But for him to have the courage to come back, because when those on the other side draw close to the earth plane again, memories come flooding back, and sometimes people don't want their memories, especially if they haven't been a nice person. He came back to say sorry, even though he didn't have the right to say sorry, because what he did was not very nice at all. It doesn't matter what he did, but it wasn't very nice at all. So this is the point from my point of view, being a medium in the middle of it all. You can sense the nice people coming through, and you can sense the ones that have problems for all sorts of different reasons. This doesn't mean they had a problem because they didn't believe in life after death. That's not what it's about. It's not about their religion. It's not about their beliefs or anything else.
That's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you think or believe. It's whether you're a good person. If you had a good life here, you've been a good person, you may have struggled a lot, you've helped a lot of people. When you pass over, you won't have a problem. That's all the information with the clairvoyance. It's coming through time and time again. So some people, when they pass over and they've been evil or anything else, you are talking about time that we can't even believe possible before they actually recover. This is the whole thing.
It's so for the really evil people in this world who've done despicable things that we
Yes.
know of in history, for example. Yeah.
Absolutely. They're going to go somewhere. They will recover. Everybody will recover eventually, but you're talking so long. But the thing is, if in their minds they think they're wonderful and everything else, they're not going to recover. It's going to be a long time before they have the humility to realise they got it wrong. And don't get me wrong, all of us, doesn't matter who it is, us sitting here now, the people watching us, we've never got it all right in our lives.
I'm sure.
So it doesn't take that. So when you pass over, you do see your entire life.
Okay, that's
and
what it is.
you see everything you have done. Everything is recorded, for want of a better way of putting it. And those on the other side are looking at you. They see who you are and how far you've progressed. So the point is, at the end of the day, and obviously I'm basing this on fact, if you like, being the medium in the middle, sensing it and passing on them, accepting what's going on, whether it's a nice bird. This takes place. This is reality.
Right.
Most people want to know this whatsoever because they don't want to face up to it. But if you can open people's minds and say, look, there is life after death, and you will see everything in your life, what's taken place, and you do have to put it right. And the next question immediately, how do you put it right? You put it right by helping other people. This is what it's about.
By redeeming yourself in some kind of way.
Absolutely. So if you spent your life on the earth plane helping people, you go over, you move on very fast. If you've been totally selfish here, you're not going to move on very fast. You will go to a different place. You will progress, but it'll take a long time before you have the humility to help the people around you. And automatically, when you help people around you, then you move on a bit. And to kind of finish it, if you see what I mean, whatever stage you're at, even if you're a horrible person on the other side, you will be nicer than someone else on the other side. And if you help that person and you feel sorry for that person, whoever you are, you progress a bit. And that's the start of anybody on the other side becoming a better person. And for the nice people who pass over, it's the same thing. To move on, you will help other people. But for the nice people who pass over, it's second nature.
Right, it's not something that needs to be learned.
Absolutely. Yeah. They've done it all the time. And if you spent your life helping people here, and many times they've come through and said what they're doing on the other side, they pass over, it was no big issue or anything else, and then they are so happy because they can help so many more people. So this is what takes place to the average person. But if you've been a miserable old so-and-so here, you can have an awful lot to put right over there. And I'm saying this from evidence of people coming back, how they have suffered or can't move on, how difficult it is to come back and say sorry. But they must have progressed a bit to be able to come back and say sorry. Because some of these souls would have never said sorry to anybody in their entire lives.
Right. And so looking from that perspective, obviously you must, with some kind of spiritual side, they're able to see their actions more clearly than they would have done here.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you can understand many people, they'll never look in the mirror. They're wonderful. Everybody else is wrong. I'm right. Da, da, da. When they pass over there, they can't hide anything from the people on the other side. They can't do it. The people on the other side have spiritual sight. Look at them. They know exactly who they are and what they've done. Now, that's a shock to the system, first of all.
Right, because of people like wolf in sheep's clothing here.
Absolutely.
All the time. People can hide.
They can't get away with anything. They can't pretend to be something they're not. It doesn't exist. Who you are is who you are, and they can see it. That is a shock to them. And once that happens, normally that's when the progression will start. And it's not God coming to judge them, heaven and hell. They're realizing who they are. So if you like, for them to progress or do anything, they're judging themselves. But in reality, they can't hide from everybody else.
Right.
And it takes time and they progress.
Right. So really they're having their own choice to look at themselves. No one's imposing anything on them. They're having to just face up.
They're having to do it themselves.
What they created. Yeah.
Yeah. But they have to choose then to realise that there's wonderful things ahead of them if they change. But it's up to them to change. So the point is, we have free will here when we live our lives here. When you go over there, you still have free will. It's not taken away from you.
Wow. So a continuing free will. So interesting. So very interesting. So much more we could talk about with this. we hope you found this interesting today. If you have any comments or questions about this, please let us know, because this is a pretty big one for a lot of people. We know your time is precious. Thanks for spending time. Bye.